Bridget. Good afternoon. I'll call this special meeting of the IHL Board of Trustees to order. Thank you, trustees, for coming in person today and participating in the Thomas and Jim Duff building dedication here at Mississippi State University. It was a great event. And I thank the trustees that have joined virtually today as well, who were unable to attend the event. Bridget, if you could conduct a roll call vote of all trustees.
Yes, sir. Miss Arrington,
Present.
Mr. Clark's absent. Dr. Cummings is absent. Dr. Cunningham,
Here.
Mr. Griffith,
Here.
Mr. Heidelberg,
Here.
Miss Hubbard,
Here.
Mr. Martin,
Here.
Mr. Ogletree,
Here.
Mr. Parker,
Here.
Mr. Rader's absent. Mr. Stevenson,
Here.
we're all ready.
All right, thank you. Trustee Stevenson, if you would please present the finance and budget regular agenda for today.
Thank you, President Ogletree. We have two items on the regular agenda today. These are agreements from the University of Mississippi related to the development and operation of a public-private residential facility on the Oxford campus. I call on Dr. Pierce to discuss the specifics of these items. And if I recommend that we take up both items together unless any trustee has an objection.
Okay, hearing none, we'll proceed with both of them.
Thank you. Item number one is a request from the University of Mississippi to enter into a ground lease with PRG Oxford Properties, LLC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Provident Resources Group, for the purpose of constructing a residential facility comprised of approximately 1,250 beds to house university students. The term of the agreement is for 45 years. This term was approved by Senate Bill 2519 of the 2025 legislative session. PRG will be the owner of the building and will transfer construction and development responsibilities to Greystar. The university conducted a request for proposals process in the spring of 2025. 6 proposals were received. A university selection committee determined after review that Greystar offered the lowest projected cost. Subsequently, the IHL board approved a pre-construction agreement with GS Development Services Central LLC, a subsidiary of Greystar, in June 2025. The university expects to enter into a management agreement with PRG Oxford Properties to operate the facility. The construction of the facility will be funded by a bond issue through a primarily tax-exempt bond offering of approximately $118.4 million. Standard & Poor's rated this bond issue BBB- with a stable outlook on October 30th, 2025. Under the terms of the ground lease, the university will receive lease payments from surplus cash flow from the operation of the facility after operating costs, debt service, management fees, a maintenance reserve, and other subordinated expenses are taken into account. The operations of the facility will be required to meet minimum operating cash flow standards. A budget committee comprised of both university and PRG staff is created in the agreement in order to advise in its operation. However, PRG will have the final determination of the rates charged to residents in order to meet minimum operating requirements. The agreement can be terminated by the university purchasing the facility for the amount necessary to defease outstanding bonds after an estimated 7 years after the execution of the ground lease. Item number 2 is a request from the University of Mississippi to enter into a management agreement with PRG Oxford Properties, LLC, to perform agreed upon administrative and operational services for the facility contemplated in item number 1. Under the terms of the agreement, UM and PRG will perform services related to the operation of the facility summarized in a responsibility matrix. UM will provide administrative and operating services including marketing, leasing, billing, collection, residential life programming, IT, security, and day-to-day management, while PRG will be responsible for maintenance, repairs, and asset management. The university will be compensated for their services from an administrative service expense, plus reimbursement of approved cost. The annual budget will be set with input from the university and PRG. However, PRG retains final authority to set rates and budgets. Throughout this process, we have received input from trustees and others about some of the particulars of the operations and maintenance of this facility, so we wanted to try to address some of these issues for the benefit of the board. We have discussed these issues with our advisors, who are Reed Smith, U3 advisors, and also our insurance consultants. The first item is PRG's ability to set rates without approval by the board. So although there is a budget committee that is comprised of and PRG staff that sets the annual budget and rates, PRG does have the final authority to determine the budget and set the rates. On this point, we note that it's important to recall that has no responsibility to service any debt payments or other costs of the facility beyond the operational topics discussed in the contract. Because of this, the debt service is required to be paid only from the operational cash flows of the facility. Therefore, the rates will need to be set at an amount needed to meet the 1.2 times debt service coverage, and it is expected that rates will be set in this way. To counterbalance this, also has no obligation to require students to live in this facility beyond the requirement that market this facility in parities with other facilities owned and operated by the university. Therefore, although rates are set by PRG, they need to be in alignment with market rates of facilities owned by the university and the Oxford housing market in order to maintain its expected occupancy. This introduces a market force which will, we expect, limit the rates that are charged to students. The second is the operations responsibility matrix. So the university and PRG will divide responsibilities for the operation of the facility. And in general, these responsibilities are divided by what we might think of as soft administrative responsibilities, which relate directly with student involvement, and hard responsibilities which relate to the physical maintenance and oversight of the facility. The university believes that in order to protect the student experience, it's best that the university take responsibility for these activities, which include all student programming, room assignments, rent collections, fire protections, emergency preparedness, student ID issues, camera monitoring, mail, facility opening and closing, marketing, RA and RD staffing, and internet management. PRG's responsibilities will focus on the mechanical maintenance, hardware, operations staffing, including facilities, janitorial, and interior waste management staffing. believes that PRG can operate these activities more efficiently due to their expertise and cost structure. The third is the long-term alignment of goals between PRG, and students. After the construction of the agreement, the main source of revenue for PRG is the student rent to service the debt and the operating expenses for the project. PRG will contract with under the management agreement in item number 2 to provide the university responsibilities set forth. PRG will then contract with the facilities manager to perform the services that PRG is required under the responsibility matrix. PRG will earn an administrative fee which is capped at $250,000 for its role in the operation of the facility. The term of the management agreement runs coterminous with the ground lease, subject to termination under the board successor doctrine, binding successor doctrine. The facility management agreement has a 5-year term, however. Thereafter, PRG has the right to select a new facilities manager with the approval of the university if operations is not satisfactory, or to operate the facility without a partner. Furthermore, has the right to purchase the facility and terminate the ground lease after 5 years of operation by defeasing the outstanding bonds. It's estimated that the cost to defease these bonds at the earliest date will be $112 million. Based on IHL staff analysis, currently has the capacity to defease the outstanding bonds of that amount. Therefore, it's in the interest of PRG to partner with in a way that interests are aligned throughout the 45-year term due to ability to early terminate the ground lease. The next issue is the right of the university in the event that the facility is not completed in a timely way. The ground lease requires that the facility be completed by July 31, 2027. The contract provides remedies for the university if this date is not met. First, PRG will be required to house students that would have occupied the facility, along with transportation and possibly meals at PRG's expense. Second, the master trustee is enabled to assume the developer's right under the construction contract to complete or cause to be completed the construction of the project. Should the master trustee not complete this duty, then the university may assume the developer's rights. The university believes that the reputational risk to PRG is a significant deterrent to incentivize the completion of this project. The next is the student rental agreement that was provided along with some of the documentation. So a sample student housing lease agreement was provided. This is not a document that requires approval by the board. However, the sample lease agreement did state that the rates would be subject to IHL board approval. But as we discussed, this is not the case, and this will be amended before it is presented to students. The next is the ongoing maintenance of the facility. The agreement requires a $212 maintenance fee for per bed for maintenance and repair, which will be used to cover the cost of repair. A committee comprised of UM and PRG staff will assess the sufficiency of the accumulated reserves and the projected maintenance need for the next 5 years to reassess the amount charged for that purpose. Because the surplus operating cash flow is the lease payment to the university, increasing the maintenance assessment will decrease the lease payments to the university. However, the university will still receive the benefit of the assessment because the university will receive the building at the end of the 45-year term or at the purchase of the agreement should the university elect to early terminate by defeasance. IHL consulted U3 advisors and they represented that this amount was adequate. In addition, in its credit opinion, Standard & Poor's highlighted the $212 fee per bed as a credit positive in their analysis. Brad Rowland, Assistant Commissioner for Real Estate and Facilities, would also like the opportunity to discuss the construction standards and the quality control in the construction of this facility. Mr. Rowland.
Thank you, Dr. Pierce. High quality design and construction is essential to reducing the frequency of cost of repairs. Durable materials and systems extend the life cycle of buildings, minimizing disruptions and long-term capital expenditures. The University of Mississippi has exhausted great efforts to ensure that the new student housing project is built and maintained at the highest standards expected as required on all campus projects. This includes requiring all projects, including this P3 new student housing project, to be designed and maintained in accordance with strict guidelines, APA standards, and all applicable building codes. The university will be involved with the design and construction of this development to ensure these standards and codes are met. Overall, the oversight will be like any other project on the campus in terms of inspections and observations from the university, professionals, and all regulatory agencies. The project will include a building envelope commissioning and testing company for additional construction oversight. All modular construction requires third-party inspectors to review in-plant quality control and construction procedures to ensure that all in-plant construction meets the same stringent standards that the university expects. The construction type is high-quality, non-combustible construction utilizing cold-form metal stud modular manufacturing in the USA that offers enhanced strength and durability, resistance to fire and pest, unlike wood construction, and dimensional stability. The modular construction provides for an indoor factory-controlled environment, consists of experienced workforce and stringent quality assurance and quality control programs, eliminating many of the difficulties of traditional construction. The exterior of the buildings will be construction with university standard masonry and roofing materials while maintaining the campus aesthetic and quality expected. The standard interior and exterior materials are purposely selected to maximize durability and minimize deferred maintenance both inside and outside of the facility.
Thank you, Mr. Rowland. Legal staff has reviewed these agreements for compliance with applicable law and finds them to be acceptable, and board staff recommends these items for approval.
You've heard the recommendation from board staff. I make a motion to approve items 1 and 2.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been a second and motion to approve items 1 and 2 of the finance and budget agenda today. Is there any discussion? Are there any further questions? Okay, if not, when Bridget calls your name, if you would vote by saying aye or nay. Bridget, if you'd conduct a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Miss Arrington,
Aye.
Dr. Cunningham,
Aye.
Mr. Griffith,
Aye.
Mr. Heidelberg,
Aye.
Miss Hubbard,
Aye.
Mr. Martin,
Aye.
Mr. Ogletree,
Aye.
Mr. Parker, Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
motion passes.
That concludes the finance and budget agenda.
Thank you, trustee Stevenson. Is there any other business for us to consider? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And before we call for a vote on that, I'd just like to thank our staff members that made a presentation today. They have done an inordinate amount of work on this, along with Harold Pizzetta and others who we didn't hear from today. And that's not to say that Ole Miss hasn't done a lion's share of work too, because they certainly have, both from their teams and independent consultants we both had, as well as independent counsel. So I appreciate the depth of analysis. So Bridget, if you would conduct the roll call vote, and when your name is called, if y'all would say aye or nay for the adjournment.
Dr. Cunningham, did you need to say something before we adjourn?
Nope.
Okay, I saw you holding your hand up, sorry.
I was keeping somebody out of my office.
I understand. Okay, Miss Arrington,
Aye.
Dr. Cunningham,
Aye.
Mr. Griffith,
Aye.
Mr. Heidelberg,
Aye.
Miss Hubbard,
Aye.
Mr. Martin,
Aye.
Mr. Ogletree,
Aye.
Mr. Parker,
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
motion passes.
Thank you all for participating today. Our next meeting will be back here at Mississippi State on Thursday, November 20th. Look forward to seeing you then.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You can disconnect us, Bridget, when you're ready.